But now, tonight's episode, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of this stuff on here this season. So, he's the X-Files, guys. Yes. Greetings, fellow thespians and unusual characters. I have come onto the set. I am Hobie Scratchkins. I am the fortune teller of love. I cannot call myself the love guru because of Mike Myers, who essentially beat me to the title. But he did not know about my version, which goes back to the 80s when I was a teenager. Now, it's true. On the K-Skit, K10 radio, I was the fortune teller. And of course, I tell the fortunes. I can tell you this bullshit. You know why Nostradamus bullshit? It's not because he's French, like the guy that told up the Merovingian line, who was other guy. So, and then other guy. Now, whole screw up happens with Nostradamus predicting the future, because they get number one idea wrong. Many ideas wrong. He was speaking in the French. The French is a very difficult language for Americans, unless you happen to be partly French Canadian. But anyway, the French is very difficult. Yes, I have a prop. Prop is good. Prop is very good. He wrote in these quatrains, which are like poems, kind of like hymns or something. And when he wrote in the quatrains, light came upon him, as you can see, and he began to foretell the future. And he mentioned things like the Waterloo, supposedly, and the Hitler, supposedly. Towers burning. Ooh, that could mean 9/11, maybe. Or other things, like the president assassination of Kennedy. Ooh, there was a gunshot in this story. And a person was assassinated. Or Yitzhak Rabin was assassinated. Oh, that was dreadful. But no. He was not talking about any of those things. Okay, let's debunk Hitler right away. Okay. Adolf Hitler. He was German leader, World War II. And he was into the occult. And his real name was Schicklgruber. And he decided that he liked Nostradamus' character in his fiction stories, his quatrains, which I consider to be like fiction stories about doomsday. Fiction. And I'm fortune teller. I know these things. I am sage. Anyway, so yes. And so he said, I want to be like the character Hitler in the story. I want to be like him. To be all powerful, because he's his character in the story. So that's the real thing, that guy. And as for the burning towers, there were towers back then in the time of this Nostradamus. There were castles. He was talking about the burning castle. Not 9/11, a burning castle. And the Waterloo, that is just another word in the French for the river. Of what? I don't know. The river. So, that doesn't mean he was predicting Napoleon, you silly people. It means it's another French word for river. If he even said Waterloo, it might have been garbled, be translated into American by somebody who said, oh look, here it is. You know what? A fact is little more than an established opinion. That's what someone said to me once. That is it. However, there's more to it than that. A real fact isn't just an established opinion. A real fact is something more. No moto? Yes. Oh my goodness. Dude. Ooh. That movie made... Oh, no. Ugh. You know what? Last week, I went to see the disaster movie 2012, and now it's made about $70 million, which isn't great, and it's number one this week, but it isn't great, but it's number one movie. That's kind of pathetic. These people must be bored. Well, you know what? This week, Twilight 2 just came out. And every little teeny kid in America, mostly girls, they're going to go see that. The last one made almost $300 million. That's insane. And it broke opening record. Opening box office records everywhere. And for an opening of a movie, the Twilight movie made more than the first Harry Potter movie and Titanic back in 1999. Because altogether it didn't make as much as Titanic. That thing made almost $1 billion altogether. But and then the new Star Wars trilogy. And then Lord of the Rings beat it. But that's just nuts. Okay, so it's like and then there's the lesser disasters. Oh, there are movies that are just a disaster because the movie was a dumb idea. You get movies like Howard the Duck that practically destroyed George Lucas's studio. Howard the Duck was based on a penthouse porn cartoon called Howard the Duck. Mildly funny. I keep scratching myself. Mildly funny porno cartoon, Howard the Duck. And so he decides I'm going to make a feature film out of this and have some 80s pop star stuff and have some cool stuff going on. Because, there were other movies with 80s pop stars or 80s stars, starlets, or star dudes. But it was a starlet in this case. And so the duck people are in it. Well, they got one duck guy. And he's horny, but they had to tone all that down and they made it PG. Like, okay, in the comic book, he was running around like a rabbit, humping everything in sight. In the movie, he doesn't hump anybody. What's with that? Okay, now, unfortunate movie titles. Unfortunate. In the news lately, we've had political pundits back and forth on all channels getting mad at Jon Stewart, Comedy Central people, or not, having tea parties and whatnot. And Mark's Cards and I decided that it was time we acknowledge a little bit of politics without ranting about either side. Decided to rant about unfortunate political names and ideas. Even though some of us are conservative at KTS, some of the others are liberal. Cards is kind of a liberal. I'm kind of a moderate conservative. It has come to my attention. Apparently, there are some unfortunate political statements. Okay. Republican guys, don't call it a teabagging party. Okay. That's not a good idea. Teabagging is a slang term. It does not refer to tea bags or the Boston Tea Party, but rather to a sexual act involving male genitalia and the forehead.